I have a follow-up question for Joan. So what kind of policies or what specifically would you do to overcome this frustration that students have, and how would you ensure that administration accurately conveys students' responsibilities in leadership positions?
I think one example that everybody can easily relate to is probably the alcohol policy. So the alcohol policy tells you what you can and can't do in certain instances, private or public instances and such. And I think that it's really embedded in our culture in terms of what we are expected to do in terms of self-governance, but there's also this weird social environment as well that goes along with it that isn't necessarily ingrained in the alcohol policy. And I think that in terms of our understanding of the alcohol policy, we should really understand that it was written by students several years ago who came up with this as a solution to different problems that we had, but then also understanding why administration is sort of pushing expectations on us when we really want to work with them and sort of understand the alcohol policy.
Can I respond to the alcohol policies?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, just a quick response. So this has been something that the college presidents and Dean Hutch and a couple of other people in the administration have been actively talking about in light of what happened at SID. And while, yes, the alcohol policy was developed a couple of years ago, it was really the best deal because the university could not knowingly condone underage drinking at Rice. And so if we go back and we relook at the alcohol policy, because we talked about it, we're going to end up at the exact same spot, if not a little bit worse off. It's a huge headache, and we can definitely go through it as a learning opportunity, but we're not going to gain any privileges by having that sort of discussion. So I think that if you're looking for someone to have those discussions about the alcohol policy, I think selecting a college president who's been actively involved in these discussions is probably your best bet.
Can I respond to that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with what Griffin said, and my intention is not that we should change the alcohol policy by any means. If you actually read the alcohol policy and see what it states, we're afforded many privileges as people on this campus, and I think that what's most important is understanding the context of where the alcohol policy came in, because then it allows us to move forward as a student body to understand this is why the students at the time wrote the alcohol policy this way, and understanding what is the administration's expectations based on how the alcohol policy was written. And moving forward from there, how do we adjust expectations from both sides?